Here's the double rows that we're going to be doing. It comes in two sections. This section right here, which has two ribbons together, and the back one that has this ribbon with it. This ribbon combination is 8 inches long, 1.5 inch wide ribbon for the back, 7/8 inch ribbon for the front. The 10-inch piece is 1.5 inch. There's some things that I absolutely will not start without. They are vital to I think, having a success. Number one is, because this is silk, you want to use pinking scissors, at least I do, and that stops it from fraying. You've probably seen videos where they have used a lighter and they have sealed off the edges with the light. I guess you could do that. I'd rather not do that, especially if you have any kids that are going to be teaching. You're going to be teaching this too. So that's number one, is I always have my pair of scissors around, fraying all edges. Cutting both edges. That way you don't get the fray. The other thing that I use is, this is called buckram, and it comes it looks like a stiff kind of cotton material. It's very stiff. A lot of times, years ago, this used to be used under skirts to make them kind of flare out, and I think today they still do when they're doing theater and they're doing the costumes. They use this a great deal. You only need like 1 inch by 1 inch, and what we're going to be doing is tacking the rows down to this. It controls things a whole lot better for you. And this is thread magic. I would not be without this. For one thing, once I've got my thread threaded, I will run it through this, and it makes it just reduces the friction that can happen when I'm trying to thread, say, several of these at one time. So I just lightly run that through, lay it down. I usually have 2 needles ready to go. And now we should be ready to go. I'm going to gather both of these, and then after I've gathered them individually, we're going to connect them together, and then we're going to add the beads. So I'm going to set this aside and set this one aside. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to do what's called a U-stitch, and I'll do a little drawing here for you so you can kind of see better what I'm talking about. Let's imagine that this is my piece of ribbon. If you can see, can you see that? I'm going to do a tiny stitch starting at the top, coming all the way across and coming up on a curve this way. Then when I pull this, it'll gather so that it looks like this. And then we can manipulate it the way we want to. So I'm going to start here. I have my thread, and I've run it through the thread magic so that it reduces the tension and the friction. And I'm going to start here, and I use probably about, maybe, what is that, 1/8 of an inch. It's not a big stitch at all, just a gathering stitch. Come to a curve, and now for this part I'm going to go all the way down the bottom. You can see kind of where I'm going. I stay pretty close to the edge, and as I gather it, if it's too much for you to hold, then you can just stop, feed that through your needle, and continue on. What we're going to be doing is gathering this so that the end piece is about 3 inches in diameter, so that when you're done with this, you'll know that it's the right size, and you can reshape this. I'm going to show you a couple of quilts that I have this rose on. It's beautiful, absolutely, and it's kind of intriguing because it's very different than because it's got the 2 colors on it, and then we just added this extra back piece to it. You don't have to use red. You can use any color that you want, any combination. In fact, I think I've used multiple different ones. Use polka dots, that's always fun. And then just any kind of, if it's an anniversary or if it's got a theme to it, I've used that one too. Okay, I have gathered this all the way. Now my goal is to make this be about 3 inches in diameter. 1, 2, 3. So that is pretty much what I've got right there, okay? So I'll keep that in mind, and I'm going to start to gather this. It wants to coil around itself, which is fine. This is very easy to manipulate. In the end, what we're going to do, though, is we're going to tie the ends together so that when they don't unravel on us. So just keep gathering this up until you kind of get what you want as far as the size. Let's measure it again and see where we are. If I was to do this now, that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is tie this off. It doesn't have to be exact at 3, but that's just a good number to have as a guide. And I'm going to wrap this a couple times and then tie this off. And then what I'm going to do is tie the two pieces together. The two ends, I'm sorry, is what I meant to say. So let's do this one more time. And then just manipulate this until you get it the way you want it. Now I can see how it's like this, and I can wrap it around itself like this. That'll be fine. That'll work just fine. Or I can bring the two ends together and stitch those together. So it's your choice however you want to do that. But you're going to end up with it having the 1, 2, 3 inch diameter. So I think what I'm going to do is probably put these two together. So I'm going to go to the back, and with my I've still got my needle attached here. I'm going to attach these two together and tie it off. Give it a couple little stitches here, and you can see what I'm doing, okay? And then what I want to do, now I can leave this, it almost looks like a heart, doesn't it, you guys? Or I can bring this up and tie these two together so that I have a more complete circle. But honestly, nobody's going to notice that. They're going to see the whole picture rather than just one place where you may have had it open. So again, it's your own choice what you want to do. I think what I'm going to do is just kind of tack these two together. So my needle's in the back. I'm going to gather one side and then the other side and just tack the two together and tie it off in the back. See how easy that is? And come back here. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tie this off, then I'm going to attach it to the buckram, and then I'm going to attach everything together. Starting here at the top, I'm going to stitch them together, and then I'm going to stitch in probably 1/4 inch gaps and gather all the way around and come back up so that the ends are tight and these are put together, and as they gather they start to form like a rose. So we're going to start here. I got the two together. If you want to pin them together, you can. I'm going to start with putting these two together, and I think you can see that I'm coming up. Oh, you can see how easily that just glides right through. Now, if you are concerned about keeping these two together, just pin them and then take the pins out as you go. So now what I'm going to do is about every, what do you say, 1/4 inch? It doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to gather it, come up and gather it. And kind of decide maybe how much I think I'm going to need. And then continue on down, all the way down my 8 inches here. If it's too much for you to try to handle all this in one long row of gathering, you can go a little ways, then you can tie a little knot, go a little more, tie a little knot, and do it that way all the way down if that's what you choose to do. Whatever works best for you. I like to try to get all the way down to the very end with mine, because then I can judge how much I want to curl this up into a like a circle. As it gathers, it looks like it's a rose. So let's do the rest of this. Okay, I'm at the end. And I'm going to come up this way, tie this all together. There we go. Okay, now let's see. So as you can see, as I'm gathering it, it's going to kind of form itself into a circle, which is what I want it to do. I want it to kind of coil around itself. So I think that's probably enough. I'm happy with that much of a gathering. As you play with it, you can kind of decide which way you want to go with it. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to tie a knot here. And I can adjust all the curves as I go. Now this is where the Kremlin comes in. They call it buckram or Kremlin. And I'm going to come up from, I'm going to lay this down here and go down into the center of this. And attach this at the center. Okay. Come back up. And start to curl it around. And as I curl this around, if I can get it together here. As I curl this around, I'm tightening and securing it to the Kremlin. This makes this so much easier for you as you are creating this rose. Now the gathering got a little bit loose here, so I can gather that up. And then attach it back down. So I can even control it as I'm coming around here on this piece of Kremlin. So I'm going to continue to go all the way around until I get it kind of wrapped around itself again. And at the very end, I tuck those unfinished edges under here. And then tie this all into a knot. So I've still got my thread here. And bring these down to here. This is a gap. I'll take care of that in a minute. For right now, all I want to do is tack this down to the back ribbon and to the buckram that it is supported to. I finally ended up using tiny little white beads. It was the good high contrast between the red and the white that for me worked just fine. So it's all here ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my quilts. I'm going to show you a couple of quilts where I've used this particular silk rose, and I think it has added a lot to each of the quilts. Here's the first one I want to show you. This is a complete tutorial on how to do these different flowers, but here's the one that we just finished. Can you see that? Now this one is more than 8 inches long. This one is 10 inches long, and you can see that it gathers around itself like a coil versus like this. But they're both great additions to whatever you're going to be doing that's going to have some dimension to it. Now I'm going to show you one more. This quilt is known from my garden, and it's in my hallway, so it's a little hard for me to kind of get it all into one shot. But up in the center, on the top, you can see that I used cloth rather than using the silk ribbon. And I made 2, one large, one small. And it really is just really pretty. It adds color and dimension and a uniqueness to the entire quilt. If you liked this video, I hope that you will subscribe. I thoroughly enjoyed making it for you, and I hope that you got something out of it. Also, when you subscribe, you really do help our channel a lot. It helps us to continue to bring to you the very best in art quilting techniques, designs, and artists. Thank you again for watching.